So this is how fast I remember counting. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 6 1,000, 7 1,000, 8 1,000, 9 1,000, 10. Today's Wednesday, February 17th, 2021, and this is a video about time. Matthew chapter 24, verse 22. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. And I like to point it out that in most translations, it seems, they say cut short instead of shortened. And I think that that's on purpose to obscure the truth of this prophecy. So Matthew chapter 24 is talking about end times. And so this is a sign of end times. Well, I don't know that Jesus was saying it directly as prophecy, because he's saying except that these days are shortened, that no flesh should be saved. So it's almost like a blessing. Like, why is time moving more quickly? This verse, it almost makes it seem like he's doing it for us. He's making time move more quickly because otherwise no flesh would be saved. Things would have gotten so bad, so out of control, that literally no flesh would be saved if God didn't speed up time. God didn't make this happen faster. And I guess that's one part of this video that I haven't talked about much. Maybe a newfound interpretation of this verse, that sure, it is prophecy. It is a sign of end times, but Jesus doesn't even really phrase it like that. He phrases it as literally no flesh would be saved in the end unless time was sped up or days are shortened, and that it's for the elect's sake. So yeah, that's one new thing that I can bring to this video, is that newfound focus on the fact that it's happening for us, because there would literally be no flesh saved if time wasn't moving more quickly. Okay, and just some other things. So one thing I will do in the description of this video, I'm going to link to all the different time videos that I've made, because I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I just want to talk about a few things in this video and try to keep it short. So one thing is, I do think it's interesting that this is the only verse that I know of in the Bible that talks about this. And there's a few gurus out there that, just one that I know of, kind of a new age type person, who claimed, oh, in the end, time will speed up. And I know that in Islam, they talk about in the end, time will speed up. So I just think it's an interesting thing that in the Bible, as far as I know, it's only spoken of once, and Jesus is the one who tells us that in the end, the days are going to be shorter. And I think it's just so important that you need to understand that he's saying that time is going to move more quickly. Days are literally shorter than they used to be. That's the whole idea of time moving more quickly. I guess it's worth pointing out one thing that everybody should just understand about it, because people think, well, my watch, I have a watch, how come that doesn't go crazy? How does a watch even keep time, though? Do you really understand how a watch keeps time? There's these crazy crystals. A watch keeps time. I don't know what it is. It may as well be magic to me. There's this quartz crystal thing. Go look up how a watch keeps track of time. And if you can fully understand how a watch keeps track of time, and you can be certain that that mechanism never changes, that this quartz crystal is always oscillating at the same... No, to me, that may as well be magic. I don't understand how that works. So as far as I know, because the sun is moving around faster and faster and faster, the crystal probably just vibrates faster. The whole reason that a watch works probably is because it accurately tracks the sun's cycle. I mean, think of how people that are woo-woo into crystal stuff, they're always talking about putting it in the moonlight and putting it in the... Who knows? I'm not telling you to do that stuff. I'm just saying, who knows how this stuff works? Does anybody really know how a watch works? To me, that seems like some crazy fallen angel tech. You know, back in the day, people had reasonable things that made sense, like sundials. And do you really know how a watch works? I don't. And so the day thing, time is moving more quickly. Days are not what they used to be. If you remember what it used to be like, there's a ton of different topics that are just like this. Do you remember what the skies used to look like? Do you remember that it used to be dark blue? There weren't streaky fake clouds through the skies. Do you remember that the sun used to be yellow, didn't used to be white hot? So I lump this time thing in with that. You either remember what days used to feel like or you don't. Something new, just something that I just think about constantly these days. I just wake up. It kind of goes along with things that I've talked about before, how I never feel restful anymore. And not just me. It's like everybody has just been running on empty for a long time. And now they love excuses. Now they'll always have the excuse of, oh, well, the pandemic's just running everybody down. But, anyways, kind of a new thing. I wake up and it's a weird thing about the sun. I'm just like, how are you back so fast? It's like you just left. I can just tell that the amount of time that has passed since the previous sundown, the next day is here and the sun is just up. And I'm like, you're here way too fast. There's no way that you should be here again. So I don't know. Have you guys been feeling that? You see the sun and you're like, why are, in the morning in particular, you look at the sun and you get this feeling of, why are you already here? And it doesn't matter about of course, the clock time will say that the sun is supposed to be where it's at, but it's because that's clock time has to do with the sun. And with when the day-night cycle has been speeding up, our clocks speed up. That's the whole reason the 1/1000 thing does what it does. If you count using 1/1000, the numbers go so super fast. And anyways, the things I've talked about before, so I'm going to try to not talk about things that I've talked about before. So one lesson, I talked about one lesson already. One lesson, God is doing this for us, speeding up end times. That's something that I should think more about, not just because generally when I think about this time thing, it just kind of, my muscles feel tensed up. Oh gosh, what? These days, for a while, it was always like 11 o'clock at night for me. For whatever reason, I would be like, how is the day already over? I would keep seeing myself at 11 o'clock at night like, man, the day is already over. These days, it's like the mid-afternoon, and if it feels like it should still be like just past breakfast time, but it'll be like 2 or 3 o'clock. I just look at the clock. I can't even believe it. I can't believe, how is it possibly this late? And it happens day after day after day after day. I will never get used to this time. It's not sustainable. What is going to happen as time continues to move faster? But why are people not talking about it? I really don't know why people aren't talking about it. I can't shake the truth of time is moving more quickly, and it's end times prophecy from Jesus Christ. So I just got off on a tangent. I was going to talk about one more lesson from this thing. Time moving more quickly, I think, is a big lesson in what we need to be doing, which is condensing information, getting information out there. There's not time to spend all this time trying to get flashy productions, and nobody has time to write a novel or make a movie right now. Just every day you have to do what you can that day, and at every opportunity, do it. Don't have grand plans. Just simplify, condense, and yeah, focus on what matters. Those are all important lessons. So I think I've said most of what I want to say. I guess it's just depressing. Whenever you run into shills, the whole internet is shills and bots. It's really depressing when you see people talk about this kind of stuff, and then you'll see the comments full of like four variations on the theme of shill, and some of them will say like, oh, you're just getting older. That's something that people love to say. It's not that. It really isn't. That's just like people that say, oh, chemtrails have always been there. They always have these excuses. And yeah. Oh, so another thing, like they'll have these softball releases of, you know how there was like an admission in the news. They talked about they tried to spin it into NASA Outer Space Land and say that the Earth is spinning faster, which would go along with the days moving more quickly. But then if you go and read the article, they say something like, oh, it's only going faster by like a fraction of a second, or they might even say like a fraction of a millisecond. They do these things where they try to admit, oh, time is moving faster, but it's barely moving faster so that nobody could ever notice it. When the reality is, I think anybody should be able to tell that time is moving more fast. I don't you can't shake it. Every day to me, it's just incredible what time it is. And just everyday things. I always have to start dinner so early now. Like, is there such thing as a quick meal anymore? What what should be a really quick meal basically takes an hour to make these days. And if you're gonna make anything special, that's like 2 hours. And that's just for dinner. And people used to do this stuff. People used to do way more stuff, make their own fresh bread, make their own breakfast, make their own. People used to leave school, go home for lunch, go back to school for more school stuff. People used to be able to get so much done during the day that we could never dream of anymore. People just know that days don't have enough time anymore. And yeah, it's just the truth. I don't know why more people don't talk about it, why people aren't shouting this from the rooftops and saying, this is end times. Jesus talked about this, how time would move more quickly, the days will be shortened. So yeah, that's it. Just if you really want to freak somebody out, the next time anybody talks about, oh, how is it already this time? Or man, the day's flying by. If you just want to freak them out and do it by talking the truth, you just stare them dead in the eyes and you say, yeah, time is really moving faster than it used to. And see how they react. And if they seem interested, talk about how this is Jesus Christ prophecy. Jesus Christ told us that time would move more quickly. So I don't know why it's not something that everybody should be getting so excited that this is the end.